Don't scroll, because this might change the way you pray forever. Everyone believes their prayer is right, but Yusuf, Alayhissalom, taught that true prayer isn't in the lips, it's in the heart. It's not about the movement of the body, it's about the stillness of the soul. Ibn Arabi once said that the tongue prays, but only the heart connects. And that's the difference between a prayer that reaches the heavens and one that stays on the ground. Yusuf, Alayhissalom, knew what it meant to pray from the depths, not in comfort, but in darkness. In the well, forgotten, he didn't cry out in anger, he whispered in trust. His prayer wasn't, "Save me," but "Guide me." Because real prayer isn't asking Allah to change your situation, it's asking Him to change you within it. It's not a transaction, it's transformation. When you understand that, you realize that many people pray with words, but few pray with presence. True prayer doesn't demand, it listens. It doesn't rush, it surrenders. It's not measured by how long you stand, but by how deeply your heart bows. Yusuf's secret was simple, he prayed not to escape pain, but to find Allah inside it. That's why his life turned from loss to leadership, because every hardship he faced was answered by silent, sincere connection. So maybe you've been praying the right way physically, but emotionally, spiritually, your heart is still somewhere else. And that's what Yusuf, Alayhissalom, came to teach. When the heart bows first, the body simply follows. If you want your prayer to be heard, stop focusing on being perfect and start being present. Because Allah doesn't look at your posture, He looks at your intention. The prayer that opens every door isn't the loudest or the longest, it's the one that says, "Ya Allah, even if I don't have the right words, you already know my heart." And when you begin to pray like that, with a heart awake, not just a tongue moving, something within you changes. You start to feel the difference between performing salah and living it. The same words you've recited for years suddenly feel alive, they start to echo through your soul instead of fading into the air. That's what Yusuf, Alayhissalom, meant when he said that not every prayer reaches the throne, only the one that leaves from the heart. Ibn Arabi wrote, "When the servant stands in prayer, Allah looks not at his form, but at the state of his heart." You begin to realize that prayer is not a habit, it's a meeting. Every Allahu Akbar is a door, every Subhanallah is a key. And if you're distracted, rushing, thinking about the world while standing before the one who made it, you're knocking without entering. But when you finally pray with presence, it feels different. The air grows still. The noise fades. You feel as if the entire world has paused just to listen to your whisper. That's when you understand, real prayer isn't asking, it's returning. Yusuf's life was a story of return. From the pit to the palace, from tears to triumph, every stage was prayer in motion. He didn't pray for revenge, he prayed for understanding. He didn't ask, "Why me?" He said, "My Lord, teach me what I cannot see." That's why his prayer was answered not with escape, but with elevation. Allah raised him not because he prayed perfectly, but because he prayed sincerely. So next time you stand to pray, don't just move, mean it. Don't just speak, feel it. Remember that every word is heard, every breath is counted, every heartbeat is known. Because when you pray like Yusuf, Alayhissalom, your prayer stops being a ritual and becomes a reunion between you and the one who never left. And when that reunion happens, when your soul remembers who it's standing before, the entire meaning of prayer changes. You stop praying to get something, and start praying because you finally understand, there is nothing greater than being in His presence. Yusuf, Alayhissalom, didn't find peace when his pain ended, he found peace when his heart aligned with Allah's will. That's the secret so many miss. Real prayer isn't about asking Allah to follow your plan, it's about surrendering to His. Ibn Arabi said, "The heart that prays without expectation receives what words could never ask for." And that's the kind of prayer that transforms everything. It softens anger into acceptance. It turns fear into faith. It takes the same pain that once made you cry and turns it into light that guides you. You start realizing that every time you prayed and thought Allah didn't answer, He actually did, just in silence, just in wisdom, just in ways you couldn't see yet. When Yusuf, Alayhissalom, was in the prison, he prayed not to be freed immediately, but to be firm in truth. His dua wasn't for escape, it was for endurance. And that's why Allah lifted him higher than any king could. You see, the prayer that changes your destiny isn't the one that demands, it's the one that trusts. It's the one that says, Ya Allah, if this is your plan, then let me find you inside it. And that's when you start to notice, even before your life changes, your heart already has. You begin to walk differently, think differently, react differently. The world may stay the same, but inside you, there's peace. That's the mark of a true believer, not that life gets easier, but that the heart becomes unshakable. And all of it starts with the prayer that Yusuf, Alayhissalom, taught, the kind that doesn't just ask for blessings, but becomes one. And as that kind of prayer takes root within you, you start to feel its quiet power in every part of your life. You no longer rush through Salah just to finish, you slow down to feel it. Each Allahu Akbar feels like you're setting down the weight of the world, each Alhamdulillah feels like breathing again after holding your breath for years. That's when you realize that real prayer isn't something you perform, it's something you live. Yusuf, Alayhissalom, lived in prayer even when his lips were silent. His patience, his forgiveness, his trust, all of it was a form of worship. That's the meaning behind Ibn Arabi's words, the prayer of the heart continues when the body stops. Because true worship doesn't end with the final salam, it continues in how you walk, how you speak, how you treat those who wrong you. You start to pray without realizing, when you forgive instead of retaliate, when you smile through pain, when you stay kind even when life isn't. Those are the hidden prayers that rise higher than any sound. And when you reach that level, you understand what Yusuf understood, that prayer isn't about changing Allah's decree, it's about changing your heart to align with it. You stop asking why, and start saying Alhamdulillah anyway. And from that moment, peace flows. You notice how everything that once hurt now heals you. The same moments that broke you before now bring you closer to Allah. The prayer becomes not something you do, but something you are. And one day, you'll look back and realize, the best prayers you ever made were not the loud ones, but the sincere ones whispered in exhaustion, whispered in tears, whispered when no one else heard. Because that's where real faith lies, not in perfection, but in presence. That's the real meaning Yusuf, Alayhissalom, wanted you to understand, that the prayer which truly reaches Allah is the one where your heart bows long before your body does. And when your heart finally learns to bow before your body does, you begin to taste the sweetness of faith that no comfort in the world could ever give. You no longer see prayer as an obligation, but as an invitation, the chance to stand before the one who knows you better than you know yourself. Yusuf, Alayhissalom, prayed not to be seen by people, but to be seen by his Lord. His prayer was pure, quiet, and constant. It wasn't about words, it was about presence. That's the moment when Salah stops being a duty and becomes a dialogue. You stop saying the words out of habit and start hearing them with your heart. Guide us to the straight path no longer feels like a phrase, it feels like a cry for light in the darkness. Only you we worship, only you we ask for help becomes the anchor that keeps you steady when life shakes you. This is what Yusuf understood, that prayer is the place where broken hearts meet divine mercy. Ibn Arabi said, when the heart stands before Allah in truth, every door of reality opens. That's what happens when you pray with sincerity, life begins to open in front of you. Worries fade, burdens ease, clarity returns. The same problems might still exist, but they no longer control you. Because now you pray not to escape your tests, but to see the wisdom inside them. You stop trying to rush Allah's plan and start resting in it. And that's when peace enters, not from the world, but from the one who made it. The prayer that used to feel routine now feels like home. You start longing for it, waiting for it, missing it when it's gone. Because you finally understood, real prayer isn't about how well you perform it, it's about how much you let it transform you. It's not a ritual of the tongue, it's the language of the soul. And when you pray like that, the way Yusuf, Alayhissalom, did, every hardship becomes lighter, every tear becomes sacred, and every moment becomes a step closer to Allah. And when you live like that, when prayer becomes your breath, not your burden, the entire world starts to look different. You don't pray just 5 times a day, you live in remembrance every hour. Every sunrise feels like far for your soul, every hardship feels like a call to sujud. You begin to see what Yusuf, Alayhissalom, saw, that prayer is not what you do to reach peace, it's what peace is made of. The well didn't destroy him because his heart never left the prayer. Even in darkness, his spirit was facing Allah. That's the real meaning behind Ibn Arabi's words, he who prays in every state is never absent from Allah. When you understand that, everything becomes an act of worship, your silence, your patience, even your pain. You start praying through how you forgive, how you breathe, how you keep believing when nothing makes sense. And in those moments, the world can no longer shake you because you've already found the one unshakable place, your prayer. You'll feel it, the shift inside. The same hands that once trembled in fear now rise in gratitude. The same eyes that once cried in confusion now tear up from love. You begin to realize that every test was not meant to break you, but to bring you back to this, the sacred connection between servant and creator. So when you pray now, you don't ask, is Allah hearing me? You already know He is. You feel His mercy in every beat of your heart. You sense His nearness in every breath you take. That's the transformation Yusuf, Alayhissalom, wanted you to experience, the moment when prayer stops being your escape from life and becomes the way you live it. And when you reach that, you understand that you were never just praying, you were being remade, one sujud at a time. And when you finally reach that state, when every sujud feels like returning home, you understand why Yusuf, Alayhissalom, smiled even after years of sorrow. Because real peace doesn't come when life gets easier, it comes when your heart learns to rest in Allah's decree. Every tear, every loss, every unanswered dua was quietly shaping your prayer, deepening your connection. You begin to realize that Allah was never silent, He was teaching you how to listen. Ibn Arabi said, when the servant stops asking for what he wants, and starts wanting only Allah, the veils begin to fall. That's what happens to you, the veils fall. You start to see that the beauty of prayer isn't in what you receive after it, but in what you become during it. You become calmer, softer, more aware. You carry that peace into every moment, into the way you speak, the way you forgive, the way you see others. Even when life tests you again, your first instinct is no longer panic, it's prayer. You whisper Alhamdulillah not because you like the pain, but because you trust the purpose. And that's when your heart reaches the highest form of faith, not the faith that needs proof, but the faith that breathes certainty. You understand now what Yusuf understood, that prayer isn't meant to change destiny, it's meant to prepare your heart for it. You stop measuring your dua by what you receive and start measuring it by how much it changes you. You stop begging for miracles because you finally see that being able to speak to Allah is the miracle. So when you stand in salah, you no longer rush. You stand like someone meeting the one they love. You bow like someone surrendering their burdens. You prostrate like someone returning to where they belong. Because that's what Yusuf, Alayhissalom, taught, that true prayer isn't in the motion of the body, but in the stillness of the soul. And when your soul learns that stillness, nothing in this world can take your peace away, because it's no longer coming from the world, but from the one you've been praying to all along. And that's when it all makes sense. Every unanswered dua, every sleepless night, every moment you thought Allah had forgotten you. He never did. He was just teaching you the language of real prayer, the one that doesn't come from your lips, but from your surrender. Yusuf, Alayhissalom, lived that truth. His peace didn't come when his story got easier, but when his heart finally said, "My Lord, whatever you will for me is better than what I want for myself." That's when his prison became a palace and his pain became purpose. Ibn Arabi said, "When the heart bows in sincerity, every closed door becomes an opening." That's what you discover too. You realize that prayer isn't about escaping your trials, it's about walking through them with faith. You stop searching for signs because you've become one, a believer whose heart stays calm even when the world shakes. You don't pray for the storm to end, you pray for eyes that can see the mercy within it. So now, when you stand to pray, you no longer count how many rak'ahs are left, you count how many moments of peace you can stay in His presence. Because you've learned that prayer isn't a request, it's a return. It's where you meet the one who never left you, the one who waited for your heart to finally arrive. And when you whisper that last Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you realize that peace was never something Allah sent after the prayer, it was something He placed inside it. You just had to learn how to truly bow to find it.